Where's my D20? Gobbo!
Hello and welcome to Hobb's Horror Stories. I'm not Hob, your usual hobgoblin narrator. It's me, Gobbo. I'm taking over. Where does he keep the stories? Aha! Found it! This story comes from Reddit on r/rpghorrorstories. The title of it is Panicking GM Almost Ruins Cyberpunk Campaign. So, our group has a system where we rotate RPG systems. We do 6-ish sessions in one system, and then we move on to the next one. So, after watching the Cyberpunk anime, we all wanted to play Cyberpunk Red, so we put it in the pool for the next system to play. I volunteered to be the GM in this, because I'm the only one who wants to be a GM and currently doesn't have a running campaign with this group. And everybody accepted. So yeah, the horror GM will be me this time around. But before I start to describe one of my biggest oopsies as a GM, let me introduce the main cast. Lawman. He has a dog that's his only friend. Tech. He made the grenade. I'm assuming that's going to be brought up later. Netrunner. Medtech. Nomad. He has a nephew and an evil brother. Basically Dante from Devil May Cry. I'm gonna call the evil brother Virgil. So our ragtag band of heroes gets a video from Virgil saying that he kidnapped Lawman's dog and Nomad's nephew and will kill them if they don't come to him immediately. So my favorite band of edge runners drive over as fast as they can. In front of them they see a small 2-story high building with a thick metal platform connecting to the highest floor with stairs leading to the roof. From the building you could go to the platform from a huge glass window. Let me paint to you what I was planning. A group of punks go in and find the 2 empty rooms with bloodstains. Virgil cut his son's arm. I was too heavily leaning to the whole DMC theme. The Netrunner connects to the entry port and starts hacking. First floor, they would have found 2 rooms with enemies inside, but the Netrunner could have activated some toxic gas, which would have stopped after filling in one of the rooms. Then they would go up to meet Virgil, who was sitting in front of the glass door with 2 hostages next to him. Either they fight or talk, and Virgil tries to flee at around half HP. In the room, there was a datapad that would tell them where to go next, and some medicine to heal them back to full. So that was my plan. It failed. I also made a note of every material and their HP so I can calculate how much they have to damage it for it to break, and I've drawn up to the board. We use a board as a map. Okay, after that long prologue, let me tell you what happened. Our unlikely saviors arrived to the place. Cleverly note that the platform is probably Virgil's escape route, so Nomad immediately yeets the grenade to the platform. And he rolls really good so he hits it. So, roll damage. And 35. That is impressive, but unfortunately, thick steel walls have an HP of 50. But I don't want to be rude, so I'll just make it unstable. So if Virgil wants to escape, he has to throw. And this is when it dawned on me. Both Virgil and the hostages were right next to the explosion. While the armored Virgil with beefy stats is sure to survive the hostages with 20, Nomad's nephew, and 10, Lawman's dog, HP, might not be so lucky. Before I say the final judgment, let me check the HP of the thin bulletproof glass. 15. So they killed the hostages without knowing, and brought Virgil down to half HP. So in one fell swoop, the players have not only killed the hostages, but caused the boss to flee, with one action. You know, it was a great plan until it wasn't. I mean, I can't blame them. Blowing stuff up usually works for me. So, our unsuspecting party goes in and tries to recon the ground floor when they hear the engine sound of an AV, flying car in the cyberpunk world. Virgil started their escape. They bolt to the top floor, absolutely running past all the goons, which is okay, I'm not evil, the goons won't attack them unless provoked. Virgil's bodyguards are still on the 3rd floor, so they have a fight ahead of them still. When they arrive, they see the damage they caused, the dead dog and the dead boy, the datapad next to the carnage, and the medicine in a cabinet, and 2 very confused bodyguards. So the fight starts. Netrunner starts netrunning, Nomad starts mourning, and brings his nephew to the roof, and has a beautiful little funeral there. So it's basically a 2v3, in the fight I planned to be a 2v5. But I'm not worried, bodyguards have weak weapons and I roll horribly. One bodyguard goes down, and the Netrunner is struggling with awful rolls, not being able to reach the toxic gas activator, and this is when it starts going even further south. Tech decides to go to the ground floor to watch out for reinforcements, and Lawman decides to leave the first floor to check out the rooms. And then the second fight starts. Everybody is struggling, but that's okay. Netrunner is nearing the toxic gas activation. Nomad came down after the funeral and helps Medtech, who is near death. Netrunner activates the toxic gas and gets some lore, but not the next destination. The gas fills up the room and stops after that. After that, they kill the few remaining stragglers, and then decide what to do next. Grab the things I personally made to go with highlight, the datapad, the thing in the cabinet, or run, saying the gas will fill up the building. I was absolutely clueless on how to continue after that. Fortunately, Nomad was a veteran GM and gave me some tips about how to fix this without retconning the session. So what's the moral of the story? I don't know. I guess GMs try not to stick too much to your plan. All I had to do was move Virgil's desk a few meters and all this mess would have been avoided. Or just tell your players no, sometimes, if you don't know how to change the plans, or clearly explain things so you and your players are on the same page. I know this isn't exactly a typical scary horror story you might be used to, but it's way more harmless, but I hope you had a little fun reading, or in this case listening, to this, because the group and I are still laughing our ass out because of the session. Man, that was a fun story to read. I don't see many cyberpunk stories, but it's always a treat to read them when I do. The DM had a good takeaway at the end here. You can't always predict what your players are going to do, and even the best of plans can fall through at any moment. You can spend as much time as you want trying to think of every eventuality, but the players will always find something you hadn't considered. Being a DM is as much as an art form as it is a science, as being able to improve and adapt on the fly is just as important to planning things out. Especially in settings where players have access to explosives, those tend to throw things into absolute chaos. Whether they're magical fireballs or sci-fi thermal detonators, anything that could potentially destroy structures are something you always want to keep in mind. But don't feel bad about not thinking about those ahead of time. Usually it takes something crazy like what happened to DM and his players here to get you to see how they can be used to the fullest. If done right, you can reward players for being creative with their use, but that's a topic for another video. At the very least, it'll make for a great story for everyone to remember. And that's a wrap. I think Hob usually has an outro written somewhere around here.
Gobbo!
Hi, Hob. I see you brought home a new door and just broke it.
Gobbo, is that the story I was gonna read this week?
No?
Why are you even going through my stuff? Gobbo.
Yes. But look, I already recorded it all, see? And I'll even let you do the outro, because I'm just that nice.
Fine. Just don't do it again. At least ask me first next time. I can get you all set up. We can even find you a story or something. At least you got it all done. Well, with that, let's wrap up today's video.
I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you have any stories you would like to have read here on the channel, please share them to the email in the description below. Also, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, it would help us greatly to slay the monster known as the algorithm. Also, if you're looking for more great horror stories like these, please click the link at the end of this video. Thank you from all of us here at Goblins and Gremlins.